Hello, we're currently. Let's start. I want to start a new mixer series. Okay, so humanity itself establishes itself over here in modern day Trabzon. Now I decided to make it so that there was this one thing I've heard, like 100. So 100 people from every country by percentage of like 33% Christian and yada yada and 6 like that. And they spawn in Trebizond. Now immediately these guys are going to form number one, a city. Um, um, uh, Not really. Okay, these guys are 100 people. This is the capital layer. And we should also add a third layer. This background is the religion. Now the red religion in reality is a syncretism of all the religions. So yeah, we have the religion, which is the other background. Now over like 1,000 years later, this is what they look like. Then they quickly capture the beginning territories, and I think I also should do the same with. Okay, boom. And they slowly but surely expand. They especially expand to the Black Sea. And I have a pretty cool theory, if you like to call it cool. Now, since we have like 30, and like in Islamic religion, there's this whole thing where you have to go to Mecca. Everybody knows that, I think. So the Muslims would always be trying to find a way to go to Mecca. So yeah, they would explore down south, and plus by this point, these religions and even a bit of ethnics became more of castes. So yeah, we have the caste system back. Massive explorations are done in the north and even here. A lot of land is already known and but like it's not like there's but there's not a lot of things there. Pakistan. The religion map is not on the But yeah, like the first thing that would most likely happen is like a deterioration in the class. For example, a further exploration would go down south over the Levantine coast until like they actually do reach Mecca, but the road is so hard the side. So yeah, they actually do reach Mecca, but they only know only one road of Mecca to Mecca. Eventually, all the other roads and all the other ways to traverse are gonna be forgotten. So yeah, so it's probably, but this new syncretic religion also made it so that the exploration. So yeah, then that's what happened. So that knowledge is relatively quickly forgotten, but their achievements are great. The Red Nation State knows a lot of land. I mean, but like they're overextended and like they don't even really have cities. Okay, yeah, in reality they do have, but this is and new small cities would start to develop along the coast and even on down the south. And since power isn't no longer concentrated by the emperor, and a revolt would take place of all the smaller countries declaring independence. Let's start with the blue team. The blue team itself would mostly be would be a peasant revolt, and would start out as a more or less anarcho-capitalist actually, but with a more determinist economy. So it's and a bunch of slave revolts would allow for the formation of the line team here, and the and in the small yellow team nation, and whatever remains of the red city is the strongest, so they quickly go and start putting down the revolts. They quickly move into like the revolt and are able to put it down, but the mountain warfare makes it so that that the city is on the border. And due to that, a lot of the yellow team would project its influence down south, where they would establish their rule more in the Euphrates and expand. The blue team, because they have no taxes, they also don't have very social systems. They are relatively anarchic, so they too descend into anarchy. So yeah. While with small city-states started being included, and the farmer republics, which are births and farmer and small tribes, and in the region, and the king takes power, but this new king is very weak, allowing for the red team to relaunch an offensive, quickly taking over the region. This is a very good trade port area, so they would quickly establish new cities. And especially in the yellow team, and even in the this, so yeah, like autonomous administration will be discovered by the red team and would go heavily into use. The yellow team shockingly has this. So yeah, and the Caucasus is also known as a way more fertile region. The Colchian Plains. So the red team decides to explore into the region. By explore, I mean colonize. Like they already know this exists for like several 100,000 years, and even some primitive tribes are known. But they quickly run into problems. and the new settlers just quickly after like actually developing populations break off and like become the blue team. The the red team is allowed to keep a small chunk of like the northern coast, this small enclave. And there's the capital, which by this point would just be the biggest and strongest city. The blue team would also be a centrally administered territory. Oh, we also forgot about the religions. This is not most likely how the religions looked by this point. Fortunately, religion would have gone and expanded like this and this and these are like the rough borders. Everybody's currently like a single religion. And the yellow team actually starts exploring down the Euphrates River. And discover Mesopotamia. They quickly start moving into Mesopotamia. Their original city does get, however, conquered by the red team. Macchiato Sabrina, macchiato. So yeah, they quickly go down there. But this massive population boom, along with a huge boom of exiles, causes a new state to develop, these being the Orange Team. The Orange Team quickly take over this small area and quickly establish a large city here. But unfortunately for the Orange Team, that wouldn't be the end, as the yellow lime-ish team also breaks off. Within a very small city, but that's still technically the capital, and the magenta city-state, and the magenta farmer commune. Now we're gonna see some wars with these two. This city is going to expand over here, and due to this series of events, this very small city is gonna get conquered. Now, due to the let's also move to the blue team territory. The Balkan base, the Lichis Tevi territory gets crossed. At this point, we're like in the Bronze Age-ish, maybe. Now we're not even in the Bronze Age. No, we're in the Bronze Age now. This is during like the Bronze Age. But the bronze is way too rare. So most tools are either copper or even weak iron tools. So yeah, we're in the early Iron Age, but this is so weak that it's practically so. It does really. We are already in the Iron Age, like. But that's mostly because like there isn't enough tin for bronze. So yeah, like that's actually it, and that's well on the video.